Growing bitter melon from seed to harvest. In early April, we sowed the seeds indoors and cut the pointy tip, which helps with germination. By mid-May, we slowly introduced the seedlings into the outdoor environment for about a week. Afterwards, we transplanted into a garden bed with built-in trellis and applied compost to help the seedling grow. We then topped out the branch when it was about 2 to 3 feet so that it can branch out to multiple stems. Every month we added compost into the soil or anything that's higher in nitrogen. Closer to the end of July, we had to extend our trellising because it was growing so much. A female flower will have a fruit behind the petal, and a male will only have a flower. If you want to hand pollinate, you can take the male flower and gently rub the stigma into the center of the female flower. When the flowers appear, we switch our fertilizer to a higher phosphorus content. At this stage, you can also trim the leaves and shoot tips, which can be eaten. By August to September, we were harvesting the fruits and they still continue to produce more. And if you want to save seeds, allow the fruit to completely ripen to yellow and dry the seeds for next year. How to successfully grow productive pepper plants. My seeds started early January using a seed tray with a dome cover to help with germination. Once the seeds sprouted, the dome is then removed. For strong indoor grown seedlings, I use a grow light. When they have about 4 true leaves, they are up-potted and then topped off after 1 to 2 weeks. This encourages new branch to grow, which makes the plant stronger and be more productive. I then removed any early flowers so that the plant can focus on growing. By the end of May, the weather was warm enough and I slowly introduced the plants to the outdoor element. They are placed under shaded area for 2 days, then late afternoon sun for another 2 days, and finally full sun for 2 more days. By end of June, they are transplanted into their final spot. The mix I use consists of equal parts coir, perlite, and compost. During transplant, I added chicken manure granules, gypsum, and rock dust for minerals. Then every month I fertilize with a handful of chicken manure granules and I water every other day. For pest control, ladybugs took care of aphids for me. By July, fruits started developing and we had our first harvest in early August. Around late October, we planted garlic direct in ground and they lay dormant throughout the winter season. By April, they started to sprout and we amended with a balanced fertilizer. In June, they started to produce garlic scapes right at the center of the stem. We harvested them to eat, and by cutting the scape, the plant will send all of its energy to increase the bulb size. By mid-July, 2 to 3 of the bottom leaves have completely turned brown, which is a good sign that they're ready to be harvested. To harvest, I'm using my hands to dig so I don't damage the bulb. It's easier for me to do this since the soil is nice and loose. And there's no need to rinse at all. I will let it dry for a couple of days before I start the curing process for long-term storage. Follow along for more.